A very good morning to everyone present here. Welcome to today's workshop, Being Job Ready as a Software Engineer in the AI World, brought to you by Vidya Innovation Centre and Walnutt. So, before starting today's session, I would request you all to please stand for the Vidya anthem.
हमारी जगह माता के जाने क्या
Before we start, I just like to understand the audience. So, how many of you are from second year? Third year? BCA and MCA? Cool, cool. All right. So, this workshop is about how do we feel ready as software engineers for the coming jobs. Things have changed a lot in the last 2, 3 years. I'm sure all of you are aware of the same. So we cover what all has changed and how we can much better prepared for the job market. Okay. So how many of you are actually nervous about the job market? आप लोग कौन कौन थोड़ा नर्वस फील कर रहे हैं उसके लिए? तो सिर्फ दो लोग नर्वस फील कर रहे हैं. I don't think this is true at all. एक बार फिर से क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हैं. कितने लोग कॉन्फिडेंट फुली कॉन्फिडेंट नहीं है कि उनकी जॉब इजीली कर जाएगी? ठीक. अच्छा, वेरी गुड, वेरी गुड. And I think this is how it should be because last 2, 3 years में ऐसे failures हुए हैं. No one should feel confident कि उनकी jobs easily लगेगी. That is the reality. But जो जो भी image अभी दिखाई जा रही है, it's not completely true. Yes, the number of jobs have reduced. Jobs कम हुई हैं. There is no denying it. But at the same time, there will still be jobs because जो भी engineers job पे काम करते हैं, if you break it down, it will have let's say 5, 6 components जो हमारी daily life में हम करते हैं, उसमें से सिर्फ एक component which is writing code has been automated by AI. But other things, for example, team members से बात करके requirements समझना कि बनाना क्या है, देन उसको डिजाइन डॉक बनाना कि मैं इस तरीके से इसे इंप्लीमेंट करूंगा, शेयरिंग इट विद अदर टीम्स फॉर रिव्यू, देन बिल्डिंग अ कोड फॉर इट एंड टेस्टिंग इट और उसके बाद उसे डिप्लॉय करना. तो यू नोटिस एक कंपोनेंट इज ऑटोमेटेड बाय एआई बट एवरीथिंग एल्स स्टिल एक ह्यूमन को करना है. तो लेट्स से इवन इफ द जॉब हैव डिक्रीज्ड इट इज स्टिल देयर बट द बार हैज रिजन अ लॉट. पहले if you knew a programming language, वेब डेवलपमेंट फ्रेमवर्क, बेसिक डेटाबेस नॉलेज, आप जॉब के इंटरव्यू दे सकते थे. राइट नाउ एवरीबडी कैन डू दिस एंड दैट इज वाई सिर्फ ये काम नहीं आएगा. यू हैव टू हैव अ पब्लिक पोर्टफोलियो जहाँ पे आप दिखा सकते हो कि आपने क्या क्या बिल्ड किया है इन द 4 years जो आप कॉलेज में थे. Also, this can't be generic things. For example, let's say आप सब लोगों ने अगर सिर्फ मिंत्रा एप्लीकेशन एआई से बना के अपने पोर्टफोलियो में डाल दिया तो ऑन द रिक्रूटमेंट साइड दिस डज नॉट टेल एनीथिंग. तो यू हैव टू मेक प्रोडक्ट्स जो आप खुद जिससे एसोसिएट करते हो उसकी इंपॉर्टेंस. व्हाई डू यू यूज एआई उसको बनाने में वो स्टोरी आपकी पर्सनल स्टोरी होनी चाहिए बिकॉज दैट इज हाउ योर पोर्टफोलियो विल स्टैंड आउट. ओके. Cool. While the presentation is being set up, we'll continue talking about it anyway. So let's say as engineers हम पहले क्या करते थे एक बार वो जल्दी देखते हैं and then we'll see कि आगे वो चीज कैसे थिंक होगी. So how many of you here have learned Python as a programming language? Okay, two. Java. Okay, and C++. Cool. So see, first thing is, and this might be a little harsh, but let's say कि अगर we want to go for software engineering jobs, we needed pre-AI to know these languages. This number is slightly less. Ideally, the expectation would have been much higher. But the good news is the second point which I was coming to, कि knowing these syntaxes do not matter anymore. So luckily, without even knowing this language, at least आप लोग के पास still the opportunity is there. Because now what matters is nobody cares कि आपको Java आती है, C++, Python आती है नहीं आती. What matters is कि can you solve problems. For example, let's say if you have to build a system which can just let's say generate tickets for all these students present here. So if you can just say इसे in your English language या हिंदी language कि मैं इसे ऐसे ऐसे steps करके solve कर सकता हूँ, उसके बाद you can give it to AI to write it in any particular programming language. Similarly, let's say web development frameworks. पहले if somebody knew Flask, Django, Fast API, उन languages या frameworks की internals की knowledge सिर्फ concept में जानने की जरूरत है. There is no requirement to know कि एक specific framework में serializers क्या करते हैं. What matters is कि आप कि कौन सी APIs बनाओगे, what should be the structure for this request, response, and why should it. Once you know these concepts, you can write the code in fast API, hibernated, Spring, Django, any other framework. So what matters is कि आप conceptually how are you able to understand those frameworks. So this is the fundamental shift that has happened. So I think we can go to the next slide. This one is covered. The next one. So now we'll just talk about, let's say, what is the gap that exists between the industry expectations and what we cover in college. And this used to be 10 years ago when we graduated, and it still exists, which is, let's say, in college, obviously we try to optimize for marks. We want to score the best grades, best CGPA. But that covers a lot of things which are not that relevant जब आप जॉब पे डे वन पे स्टार्ट करते हो. So for example, let's say any one of you joins a job today as a software engineer. तो आपको क्या करना है? You will be given a feature requirement कि ठीक है, I want to build this feature. So you will have to talk to the product team. Product team is the team which comes up with requirements कि I want to build this thing. So you have to interact with that team. You have to ask questions कि okay, इस केस में क्या करना है? All those edge cases you will have to cover as an engineer. Then you will draft the design documentation. कि okay, this is how we will implement it. This document is reviewed by the engineering team के जो भी आपके leads होंगे. So they will say okay, this makes sense, but यहाँ पे we'll have to change something. Once this design document is changed, then you will write the code for it, test किया and deploy किया. सबसे पहले एक staging environment में. Staging environment is where let's say जो भी developers उस company में हैं वो लोग test करते हैं. And then you deploy it to a production environment where actual users use it. Now the thing is कि unless you've done these things, ये जो पूरी life cycle बताई, on day one you won't feel confident. If somebody comes up and just says, okay, I want this to be implemented, you won't feel confident because आपने वो चीज actually नहीं की है. अगर if we break it down to a very small problem, let's say git page, sure it takes 2 3 days to understand कि git कैसे चलता है. But if you have not merged two branches, वहाँ पे जब आप merge कर लो, there is chances कि conflict size and then your entire team is resolving those conflicts. Especially अगर आप बड़े projects पे करते हो, it might mess up other people's work as well. So it comes up with a lot of stress. If you don't मतलब आपने इसकी practice नहीं करी है, I have seen lot of new engineers struggle just on this particular thing. पूरा बीच पे काम किया महीने भर, final date पे जब merge करना था code, it messed up and release got shifted back by a week. So this is something जो मैं my main point is कि अगर आप ये सब चीजें कॉलेज में ही प्रैक्टिस करते रहो तो डे वन पे जब आप जॉब करते हो यू आर मच मच ahead than other engineers who are joining the same team. And this does not इतना इजी कभी नहीं था जितना ये अब है because now you have tool which makes your journey very very fast. आपको अगर let's say branch merge करने का इशू आ रहा है you can just ask the AI what am I doing wrong, you can give that error and वो exactly आपको steps बताएगा to fix it. So ये सब हमने बात करी अभी इसको प्रैक्टिस में लाते हैं. What we do is we'll build a URL shortcut application live here using AI. We'll just see कि ये journey होती कैसी है and that is exactly what we'll replicate going forward on the jobs as well. So I need one volunteer who has some experience with AI जिसने कुछ अभी application बनाए हैं, anyone और without AI जिसने recently कुछ application बनाए हैं, anyone. Cool. So like what we do is ये URL shortcut application बनाए. I'll just explain what it means. So you take any long URL, let's say youtube.com slash some value. This application shortens the value to a smaller URL that can be shared with others. This short value will remain active for let's say 7 days. And once you paste the short value on the web browser, it will convert it to the original value and open the website. This is the entire requirement of the system that we built. Like that you're able to see this.
ठीक है.
Cool. By that time, we're able to system this speak working. what we do is we'll talk about the next step anyway. So let's say Aaj, if you start preparing for interviews. So the original pattern was, and imagine you are starting from day one, you don't know anything. So you'll take, let's say, 2 weeks to learn a programming language of your choice. Python, Java, anything, 2 to 3 weeks. Then you need to know a web development framework that will additionally take, that should take, that should take additionally 2 more weeks. Then let's say the requirement is to know databases. So you, guys, am I audible now? Everyone is able to hear, right? Cool. So what I was saying is, ki, let's say we took 1 to 1.5 months of effort to first learn the things, the language, the framework, databases. Post that, we'll go and build something. So let's say the building of an application would take us another 1 to 2 weeks. So overall, we gave 2 months to learn and then build, and that is when we felt ready for our first interview. What needs to change now is we have to flip this thing in the reverse order. From day one, we have to build first and then learn the concepts through what we built. So what happens is, let's say if I build an application today using AI, I have the code in front of me. Then you'll go to that code and see, and then you'll see that okay, this particular concept that is being used in that code, what is the use case for it? So for example, let's say you saw a class written by AI, you'll see that okay, this class is used to do this particular application. So the thing, main important point is that you have to flip it so that you don't have to wait 1.5 months to actually start building. And post that, what happens is that once you build something in your first 1 month, you also can display it on your GitHub profile. So two things are happening: you're learning faster and you're getting your profile ready at the same time. And this same step has to be repeated 3, 4 times. At least 4, 5 good problems are a minimum requirement before you give your first interview. Similarly, let's say how many of you have already prepared data structures and algorithms? How confident are you in that VSLO interviews? Anyone who feels confident about it? So no, someone who is confident, who has done a good amount of exercise on that particular topic. Cool, no problem. See, VSLO itself, the preparation strategy has to be changed. We can't go through YouTube videos continuously of 20 topics and then try to attempt problems on these videos. Because what happens is you won't sustain what you learned 6 months down the line. So you again have to flip that, understand the concept using AI first, and then actually go to lead code and practice those topics. Idea is any person who starts from day one should be able to finish their preparation in 3 to 4 months. It should not take more than that. If it is taking more than that, then we are making some mistake in our preparation strategy. Okay.
वाइट में लिख रखा है वाइट 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 देख तो लिखा हुआ है नहीं कमांड का सर tomorrow night को करते हैं
So you can see now, we have opened an ID. This ID is called cursor. ID is integrated development environment. जो जिस सॉफ्टवेयर के अंदर we actually write the code while building an application. On the left side of that ID, you can see the project structure. Right now, since this is a wiki folder, you won't see any files here. But once we build this software, we'll see files with their names and their hierarchy. On the center part of the ID, we'll have the actual place where we write code. Earlier, we used to write manually on this part, but now AI will write the code for it. And on the right side, this is the most important part. The right side is the place where we interact with the AI agent to actually build the application. So right now you can see this is the chat prompt where we will give the requirements of the system. So let's say I will say I want to build a URL sorter application. I want to use Python Fast API as the backend. Take a simple URL sorter.
अपना नेट ऑन करना मेरा ऑन है व्हेन आई गेट 34 1 2 3
So you can see, अभी तक what I've done is I've just given the instructions कि क्या बनाना है, कौन सा tech stack use करना है, which is Python and Fast API. And an additional thing that I've done is I said कि use Docker to build this application. How many of you are already aware of something called Docker? Docker, not doctor. Docker. Cool. So Docker is an application. Let's say if you build an application on your laptop and you take this application and run on someone else's laptop, things break because उन laptops में configurations could be different. But that is not what we did. What we did is we said, first plan ये चीज आप implement कैसे करने वाले हो. Then I want to personally review that plan and उसके बाद we'll actually ask the AI to write the code. This is crucial because if we had not did the planning first, chances are कि जो code AI लिखेगा उसको we'll afterwards ask to refactor, change certain things because we might not be happy with the implementation. So that is why we've done the plan first. So let's visit the plan now. You can see it will give you the architecture diagram. How will the application look like? What are the tech stack choices that are made? What are the API endpoints that will be present? For example, you can see the most important endpoint for this application is the shorten slash shorten endpoint. This is a post method. Uh, are you guys aware of HTTP methods? No, no problem. So HTTP request, when we make a request to an API, there can be multiple methods. First is the get method. It is used to get a value from that endpoint. Post method is actually used to create something, create a resource. So in this case, since we are creating a short URL, that is why we have used the post method. Now let's say we are happy with this plan. We won't go into too much detail, but let's say we are happy with this plan. Then what we have to do, we have to use the build command, and then the agent will start building the code for the system. So while the actual code is being written on the right hand side, I want you to notice on what happens on the left side of the page. So you can see on the left side, the actual repo structure is being generated. There is an app folder. This is where the content of the application code will be written. You have the requirements.txt file. Can anyone tell me what this file is used for? Requirements.txt. People know file. Yes.
Sir, it is used for writing all the requirements, all the library name, all the external application that we need to for our code to run.
Perfect.
The list of that code.
Perfect. Perfect. So when we are building applications in Python, let's say we use some libraries that we don't want to write ourselves. So we mention them in requirements.txt with the version numbers. So what happens when we run the application? All the libraries inside this file are installed first, and then it runs our application. Till this point, quick questions here. Anybody who has any questions? सबको बिल्कुल क्लियर है अभी तक कोई डाउट नहीं है Good. So you can see the application has been built. We try to work it and see which requirements are they working as expected or not. One thing also you guys might note that the time to actually launch the Docker application is a little higher. But in general, it's much, much faster. This is because of the internet speed. But in general, when you install a particular application using Docker, it will be much faster than this. So just keep that in mind. Cool. While the application is being built, I have a question. So, can anyone tell me what is the use of a function? Yeah, someone mentioned an answer. What is the use of a function? Why do we even need functions? I think this is the most basic question, and then we try to build the other concepts through it. Anyone, or maybe you can take this. What is the use of a function? Any guess? There are no wrong answers. Feel free to answer whatever you feel. That is partially correct. Yes, any piece of code is used to perform a specific task. But why do we use functions for a particular thing? For example, let's say if I write a block of 100 lines of code, that will also perform that task. But why do we use functions?
To reuse the code.
To reuse the code. Perfect. Now let's say I have a class. How many of you are aware of classes, by the way? I'm assuming all of you know classes, right?
Yes.
Classes have functions inside of them. What is the function inside the class? Why is it different from a normal function? Anyone, whoever, just take guesses. The, the function inside the class, how is it different from a normal standalone function? Yes,
Because it can only be used inside the class and it's called methods.
almost correct. So what we're talking about is instance methods, which are part of the class. Once we create an object, then we can only then access those functions. But on a higher level, the idea is that you take functions which make sense to the behavior of that class. For example, in animal class, you will put a function called, let's say, walk, or a function called speak, because they add behaviors to that particular class of object. Okay? So my point is, these concepts are what matter. You don't need how to create a class, how to create functions, but these underlying questions are what gets asked in the interviews. So while studying any programming language or anything for the next 1 year, focus on just mastering these smaller concepts, because this is what candidates are judged on the interview. Nobody wants to ask you to write a particular task to implement a particular behavior, because that is now part and parcel of life. But if you're able to answer these smaller details kind of questions, this is what will help you get that job. So as you can see, when we started the application, this is not very clear, but we got an error here. So what I'm doing is I'm taking this error message and I'm pasting it back in the cursor ID, and I'm asking the ID to fix this particular error. Once this is fixed, we'll try to run it again. Cool. Well, you can see that the UI of the application is now up. The backend server is also up. At this point, first thing that we as developers have to do, we have to test if the application fulfills its goal. which is to take a linear URL and see if it generates the right short URL. Let's say I open a random URL. It did generate a short URL. You can see it on the screen. Now I'll copy this short URL. I'll go to a new tab and actually paste it and be redirected to the actual original URL. So at this point, the application does work in the way it should. अपना काम वो कर रहा है. क्या अब ये कोड रिव्यू के लिए आगे दिया जा सकता है? To the engineering team. जिन लोगों को लगता है कि this is done, it is prepared, आगे दे सकते हैं, please raise your hand. नहीं दे सकते. The application is working. कोड सारा लिख दिया गया है, अभी भी नहीं दे सकते. Can someone answer why?
सर अभी हम श्योर नहीं कि फाइनली लॉन्च करने के लिए रेडी है.
Perfect, very good. First thing, what we tested is just one URL. As a developer, dev testing comes into play. यहाँ पे developer test it to a variety of use cases. So what you will do is you will test with multiple URLs. Then you will test it with single URL and see कि अगर उसकी expiry लिखी हुई है, then I should not get a new short URL. मुझे पुराना validate होना चाहिए for the 7-day duration. Let's say generates the testing कर ली, then can we give it for review? टेस्टिंग कर ली, सब कुछ सही चल रहा है, क्या तब रिव्यू के लिए दे सकते हैं? Is the answer yes or no? You take a guess. क्या दे सकते हैं review? इस पॉइंट पे हमने टेस्ट कर लिया, यूआरएल शॉर्टेज हो रही है, क्या हम इसको आगे रिव्यू के लिए दे सकते हैं? नो, व्हाई? प्रॉपर्ली टेस्ट नहीं किया. लेट्स से हमने टेस्ट कर लिया, सब सही है, फिर क्या करें? उसके बाद दे सकते हैं. ठीक. कितने लोग एग्री करते हैं कि उसके बाद हम दे सकते हैं? यू एग्री? बाकी लोग एग्री नहीं करते. अनफॉर्चुनेटली हम अभी भी नहीं दे सकते बिकॉज एप्लीकेशन बिल्ड हो गई है, बट हमने अभी तक एक सबसे जरूरी काम नहीं किया, विच इज टू एक्चुअली चेक द कोड. एजेंट ने जो कोड लिखा है उसे हमने अभी देखा ही नहीं एंड हम उसे रिव्यू के लिए नहीं दे सकते. लेट्स डू दैट. So you guys can see the code on the screen now. This is the guys देख सकते हैं. This is important because अभी we are reviewing the output. This as the maximum value. अब तक जो भी किया you can skip everything जो अब तक हमने किया because वो हर बच्चा करेगा. What differentiates आपको from outside जो आपका competition होगा would be this. Please focus on this part. This will only review one function, which is the main function to shorten the URL. Now let's say you are going through this function and you notice कि there is a loop that runs 10 times to shorten the URL. एक URL को shorten करने के लिए हम 10 बार ट्राई करते हैं. Does this sound right? क्या ये सही है? Can anyone tell me why are we even trying it 10 times? 10 बार क्यों ट्राई कर रहे हैं shorten करना? How big you can answer? एक URL shorten करने को हमने 10 बार ट्राई किया. Any guess? कोई दिक्कत नहीं. चेक करने के लिए क्यों सही है? This is close to the answer. But हम अगर एक वैल्यू मेरी clearly वैल्यू उसे shorten करना है 10 times we try करें. What would be the cause? You want to take that?
Sir, I guess for the desired output, like it is checking 10 times that what is the best desired output.
No. So what happens is कि जब हमने पहली बार वो equivalence plotting किया, it is possible कि वो same value किसी और equivalence की already stored हो database में. So there can be something called collision. अगर collision होता है, so it will retry it again. So वो 10 times it's trying to get a unique value, so that वो जब short equivalence वापस browser में डालेंगे, we only reach one final actual equivalence. Okay. Now let's say what all things will get rejected in the अगर ये कोड मैंने आगे भेजा for you, क्यों reject हुआ ये चीज? First thing you notice line 113, there is a hard-coded SQL query written here. This is not how production software living should happen. आपकी जो queries हैं, they should go in a separate queries.py file so that अगर वो query मुझे कहीं और पे use करनी है, I don't have to use this function. Sorting equivalence is a specific function, but मैं इसे reuse नहीं कर सकता. So those queries have to be in different files, and जो उनके arguments हैं, for example, I want to insert a particular value, it should always be passed as a parameter, ना कि argument query की value beneath itself, because then it is prone to SQL injection attacks. Similarly, if you check the entire code of the application is written in just one file, this will straight away get rejected. You want to break specific components of the application into separate modules so that जब कोई नया बंदा रीड करेगा, maximum code is read not written. आप डेली लाइफ आप जब इंजीनियरिंग कर रहे होगे, 70-80% of the time आप कोड किसी का पढ़ रहे होगे rather than writing new code. So it's very important कि जो आप कोड लिखते हो, it's very easier to read and understand. This is a mess. It's very difficult to understand कि क्या हो रहा है just by looking on the left hand side. An ideal code is something जहां सिर्फ आप लेफ्ट साइड स्ट्रक्चर से एप्लीकेशन करेगी क्या ये समझ सकते हो, and then you go inside those files and try to actually read the code. So this will get rejected, but let's say कि due to whatever reason हमने डिसाइड किया कि we want to take it forward. What is the next step? कोड आपके सिस्टम में चल रहा है, फिर आप क्या करोगे? आगे सेंड कहाँ करेंगे? नहीं नहीं, the thing is, the process is कि इसे बोलते हैं deploy करना. So you deploy this application in a staging environment बस, जहाँ पे आपकी कंपनी के लोग यूज करेंगे, वहाँ पे फिर टेस्टिंग करेंगे. लैपटॉप में चल रहा है, बट फाइनल प्रोडक्शन लाइक एनवायरनमेंट में टेस्ट करना होता है, एंड उसके बाद ये डिप्लॉय टू एक्चुअल प्रोडक्शन एनवायरनमेंट जहाँ पे यूजर्स उसे यूज करेंगे. So the other two slides I think we've already covered as part of the thing. Now I just wanted to talk about what we do. So we at Walnut are building, let's say, the fastest possible way for someone to learn software engineering. So our focus is not on teaching everything. Our focus is just on teaching the required amount of things so that 2 to 3 months में बंदे feel ready कि they can give it. Because right now time is of the essence. So let's say focus is only on building lot of things जो जरूरी है, which can be added to your portfolio, learning along the way and learning only the required things. And that is what we at Walnut are trying to build and offer to students across India. And as part of the build and learn culture, we are organizing a hackathon on 15th Feb to 28th Feb. So this will be a 2 week hackathon where individuals can take part as well. नहीं तो up to 3 different team members as well. This year's theme is personal AI assistant. So for example, let's say anybody is interested in travel, you can build एक application जहाँ पे आपकी hotel bookings and flight bookings वो AI web application कर सके. If somebody is interested in sports, you can build a personal